in the old broken model of rec league and some hodgepodge stuff a 7th grader on a 10th grade team that doesn't work and they don't see the field, I think that really is the formula. And then you just can't get away from the boys put in a lot of effort. And I remember what it was like to be 14 and jerk around, Troy. You want to laugh, boy? Because it can't be awesome. Of course it's not awesome. Yeah, sure. So let's come practice and cut loose and whatnot and have a good time, and I get all that. But when it was time to work, moms and dads, your kids, your sons went to work. We pushed them. For this age, hats off. So I think those are the 4 things that put on that display on Saturday. And then I think, boys, we were exposed to things that were beyond the game. Did everybody have a good time on Saturday night at Newbury that went? Yes. Should we do that again? Should we make that an annual thing? Yeah, that was pretty cool. It's pretty cool because you get a chance to see the next step or 2 down the road. Maybe college. First is college for me. And then maybe I can play at college. And you get to see this. And then you get to see the guys that are just one step ahead of you. One big step ahead of you. But to hear what they did and how they got there, and to understand that, Coach Frank isn't making it up, and Coach Jeff isn't making it up, and Coach Hutt, we're not just breaking your chops, just saying the same thing. It's universal. There's a pathway to get there, and to hear it from ballers at that level was great. I think it was great that they, and we did all season talk about student athletes. I knew how much do we get paid for this coaching. Boys, we ain't making money playing ball. So you gotta be students first. It's fun to use the guns, but you gotta be able to use what's between your ears. And these are the habits that you get to start learning now. You start doing it now, not when you're juniors in high school. I felt terrible for that one guy. Right? He was talking about how he was recruited to go play at Syracuse. He could have been playing with Leo and Scalino right now. He's a Newberry. Now that's not a Newberry. All day, but his grades weren't there. So don't wake up when you're a senior and say, I better get my act together. Do it now. Because that's what's going to pay us. That's long ball play. Yes? There's a clear jump from rec to Forge, and it's the beginning of the expectations that Coach Murdoch places on the program. So he's a Philly guy, I'm a New York guy, but somehow, somewhere, someone taught us old school, cut from the same cloth. So things change when you get to the program as you start getting north. It's a little sharper, and it's a little bit more disciplined, and it's a little more old school, and it's a throwback. And so you get that piece that's going to carry with you. It'll carry with you to life when you have bosses or you become bosses yourself. And I think, to me anyway, most importantly, we spoke about how does a boy become a man? We do our best to model what that looks like. Right? And that these things aren't just words, they're things that you have to operate a certain way. So it was been a pleasure to be able to teach you how to pick up the ball and throw it and move it around. And it's also been a pleasure to try to instill some things into you. So boys, thank you. Thank you for working hard. Thank you for paying attention. Thank you for showing up every day and going to work. And to the parents, I want to say thank you. Because when the sideline is positive, it sure makes it a heck of a lot easier for the coaches. These are the great little parents. So thank you for all the encouragement. Thank you for all the little things and the messages along the way. Sometimes it can be a little bit of a grind over the kind notes and little bits of encouragement, I want to say thank you. And if I could just, how many are here in the room that your son this is your first go into athletics? Just by a show of hands. Have you been down the road? If you're a parent, how many kids this is the first time you're playing or traveling or anything like that? So it's a heavy room of folks that have done this before. I would just encourage everyone to look at this. I know it's a grind, getting to practice and running to games and doing all these things. I would just encourage you to count it as joy, because it's fleeting, and you borrow with your sons and talk and spend the time that you maybe wouldn't have done otherwise. Or maybe you're out there and you got a baseball mitt, and your son's got a lacrosse stick, and you don't know how that stick works, but you can throw the ball. Like, all that is cool. And you get to be with your son, and you have some common ground to talk about the game, or whatever it is. And somehow, some way, you get to connect with your son. And my prayer is that your sons fall in love with the game, so that now you have stick and carrot. If then, son, you better come home with a 90 in butt, or your butt's not going to practice. You better, or you're not going. That's all I had to hear from my parents. If you don't do this, you're not going to the field. And that would stand in my head all day till the cows came home, just to go to practice. Right, Preston? I get it, man. I know. So it's great that we love the game, and I pray that you fall in love with the game, because it's a great motivator. And it'll push you to achieve and do things that maybe you normally wouldn't do unless you had that motivation. So I would just tell you that it's worth it. It's worth it. And I would say this. I know the price point jumped up a little bit this year to play. And we're going to see next year about getting it down a little bit. But, we're trying to keep the price point on this thing low, so that nobody is pushed out. We're trying to figure out how do we get equipment in. We're trying to see how we make opportunity. Because I remember when my oldest was coming through on Long Island, and things were really tight. Really, really tight. And we just figured it out. Now on the island, travel ball for the year could cost you anywhere 10, 15 grand a year. Like, not that much. Expensive. So we're trying to really keep this thing down the best we can. And just so everybody has an understanding, without getting into the gory details, but every time we ran a home game, that referee bill ran anywhere from $300 to $450 just to have referees on the field. That's out of pocket. We had 8 home games. So just it adds up fast. And we didn't pay for the fields, thanks to Coach Hutt. Give Coach Hutt a big round of applause. And so, I just give you just a little bit of insight, and we'll kind of move through this. Now, I know Jeff will mock and smirk when I say this, but the district knows about the program. And I'm not as beat up as Jeff. I've only had 2 years and I'm at 16. But Dr. Ross and the head of all the ADs for District 5, Stephen Puckett, they've been very good. I think I don't know that there is a team on the horizon in the short term that they'll fund, but it does sure sound like they know who we are, number one, and number two, they look like they're willing to push others to us. And so if we can grow the program, I'll take it. If we can pump 40 players through, 7th and 8th grade, I'd be happy. I can't guarantee that there's a program around the corner that the district is going to fund, but we're getting closer. So I would ask this. you know, when we do we'll do this tonight, the last raffle for those of you who have read. I do send the videos up to the district specifically, because they are about student first, athlete second. They are about a good culture. So when we asked for little testimonials, I know it's uncomfortable to be in front of the camera, but if we could, just 45-second little snippets about, not really come play lacrosse, but what's the culture like here? What did your sons walk away with? And the positive things that I put in that sports you, just get in front of Jason and just quickly, just bang it out. Because the more we can pump up and the more we can pump out to the families, I think the better off we are. All right, Jocelyn. So you kind of know what, I'll call the name and then you'll find what I'm talking about. Okay. I'm trying to refrain and be a man of self-control. But, but I'm not so much interested in stats, right? I'm not so much interested in stats. In fact, I slipped on the first 2 games and didn't keep stats. And I said, oh God, I messed up. And we just didn't track it. But shame on Coach Frank, next year we'll do better. But, we watched a bunch of boys turn into ballers, which is great. So what I want to do is just, we're going to call up one by one, we'll go through it. Now boys, what are the one things that we say in practice? When it's not your rep, what are you supposed to do? Why are you paying attention? What you did right and what you did wrong. So we're only going to talk about what we did right today. But when the coach is saying you did something right, well then imitate that thing. And on the next rep, you do it right. Right? All right. Where's Ramp Man? Henry Ramp. Come on up, buddy. Come on, Ramp Man. This guy can't even see to the podium. So we tried bringing a Forge practice team up, 5th and 6th graders, just so they could start getting extra reps. And then we said, all right, can we get them into games? We're going to do it first, we're going to do it inter squad. And then we said, well, if I can squeeze a 5th or 6th quarter out of another team, why not just put the little guys out there? And we kind of, because they were sending some freshmen down to play us. And these boys, all the 5th and 6th graders, nobody gave an inch. When I told the ref that I had 5th graders out there, he said, "You're kidding me." He goes, "Those boys will back down." Now, Randy, you're right, dude. I told him, I said, you know, bring a buddy. I said, I'll buy an ice cream. His response was, bet. So we go for ice cream? We're going for ice cream. So Henry Graham, I love this kid. You're going to do all right. You just keep at it. Keep working your parallax. You got it. Get your numbers up. All right? Let's see this job. Good job. All right, Dix. Where's Dix? So we get one of these rare, not rare, but we get a cold day in February, the beginning of the season. Right? It was like, I don't know, 30 degrees. Rent man shows up like he's going to Isle of Palms in June, July. He's dressed for the beach. Hey, what do you weigh, like 60 pounds? Yeah, 70 pounds. So now he's he's blue. Coach. Yes, what is it, Dick? I go home. He said, why are you dressed like this? I said, all right, well, we got to call your father. So now his father gets on the phone, and I know the sound of an exasperated, frustrated man when I hear it. I told that boy to put clothes on. You come in dressed next year? Yeah, your father tells you to put clothes on. You put clothes on? Yeah. So we went home, but here's the thing. We talked, right? And what? There's my man, my left, natural left. This guy's always with that smile. Excited all the time. Shows up, gets coached right away. And he's my number 10 guy in Palax. How many points you got? 2,033 points. 2,033 points. Good job, man. Now you just stay after it. I love your effort. Always yes sir, I will. Yes sir, right away. Well, very respectfully, young man. So you're going to go work for Coach Hut. You're going to work for that like that. You're going to produce for him. He scored this year. You have to. All right, my number 7 Palax. Let me get Owen up here. Now my number 7 has got 2,271 points on the season. You having fun? I can tell you, because you learn and you're paying attention, and I'm watching you on the field. You have good size. You show up. You work hard. In fact, you started getting some game time. Yeah, it was fun. What'd you think?
It was fun. I was really nervous though because all the kids were really holding on me. I had a lot of time.
And after you made that first bit of contact, anything to be nervous about after that? It changes fast, right? Good job. Everybody went flowers. Oh yeah. Flowers. This boy eats like a man. I can tell you, right? You don't miss seconds? No. Do you miss Mrs. G seconds? She cook all right? Yeah, she cooks well, I know. So, you started getting pulled into the mini ones as a 6th grader. With all the 7th graders, right? You started getting a little game time? And they passed the ball to you and all you could see was net, right? You were juicy. You were like this, I saw that. You did a good job. I am watching you, boy, and I clearly have my eye on you. You work hard for that man right there. You tear it up, okay? Good job. Eli Wiz. So here's a natural lefty. He's my number 4 in Palax. 4,285 points. Your skill sets lurch over. Now what grade are you? 6th grade. And you played, you're a natural lefty, so you were splitting time with Carson, back and forth, right? And you had a give and go assist this week, right? To Alex? Yeah, we finally got one of those. Very coachable. You hung in there with your voice. It's very commendable. If you just keep with it, you're gonna have no problem. No problem with this game. You're a good kid. Good job. So that's our batch of 5th and 6th graders. And if that batch grows, yeah, I'm running the show. No, it did not. You just take it easy. I try to run the deal, and you just be there to receive a nice salute. All right. Let me have Connor Hay. got some growing to do. He's got some growing to do. But let me tell you, this boy is putting the work in. He is my number 6 in Parallax with 3,411 points. I watched you make great shots. 3 times, the first time I thought maybe it was an error. He was under pressure, and he's running up the sideline with his stick to the outside, like he's supposed to, and he stopped, and he backed away from pressure, and dumped it forward. And I said, maybe. But when you do it a second and a third time, I said, oh, my boy gets it. He's put the time in, he's been steady. Once everything comes together, that shoe and you fit into it, let me tell you, good job, buddy. Good job. Where's Brian? Where's Brian Clark? Yeah. We got a lot of respect for the kids on the team, but this one has got it really together. Got a good way about you. You put the effort in. He broke the window with talent, so I think he's blacklisted. But find out the drill, not being one of the fathers. If you just go ahead and do it, you're going to be all right. You did a good job. When you had an opportunity, you made the most of it. There was no flinching, no backing away. You knew where to be. You did a good job. You got you in. Fighting. Coach Frank was fighting for the 5th and the 6th and the double headers, so that all my boys did. You did a good job. Good job. Good job. All right, this next young man, I scooped him up in the restroom. Respectful, always looking to help. What can I do, Coach? What can I do? Elijah, come on up, buddy. It is not every day that you find a young man that says, I want to play goalie. In fact, I was thinking about playing goalie. Like, that doesn't happen, right? It's kind of a rare thing. And for a young man to step in the cage in our first game against probably the stiffest competition and not get flushed. He didn't lose his cool. I mean, it stinks that we walk like that. But what did I tell him? Don't look at the, I'm not looking at the score, right? I was looking to see was he going to flinch. Not once. Not once. Excited. His cadence never picked up in his speech. Just cool hand movement. And you did a great job. You did a great job. And let me tell you this too. This is also mental. One of the last practices, I was working with the younger defenseman, Connor and Owen, and we were working some uneven schemes, and one of the boys didn't know how to slide. So we were kind of teaching, but he stepped in first and said, no, it's like this. When he goes here, you do this, the ball goes there, they do this, and I'm listening, and I was like, yeah, that is right on. So I said, Coach is going to be quiet, Elijah's going to teach the drill. And he taught it, right? Yeah. And he taught it perfectly. For a goalie, for a kid who never played, to know when to slide and to be able to be that emerging general on the defense, I mean, you can't. Not anyone in the 7th grade. Yeah, no, it's right there. Yeah. That's on. Eat that. No crying. I love it. We threw him into the fire against the best team, and hats off to him. We weren't sure, like, does he want to be here? I'm not sure. And then we had a moment, and we talked, and we said, how do we help the young man? I don't know what went on at home, but his effort just rocketed out of, I mean, I think he 600 points in power before this, about that. And when he finished the season, he was my number 2 guy with 5,055 points. Son, that is great effort. And I guarantee you that if you don't stop now that the season's over and you continue that effort, you will be unrecognizable when next season comes. Guaranteed. Remember we say all the time, Tripp was terrible last year. Like this. And now you got to see You just stay after it. You did a good job. I'm very impressed with you. That second season push. And I noticed that you were picking up awkward balls, right? Under pressure. So you could see it. You did a good job. Boy Nolan. How long have you been playing? A year. Now you'd never know. He picked it up fast. And he's my kind of player. Like a Noah Norwood's not my kind of play. This is my kind of play. I know you like Noah's. I like Nolan's. He's quiet. He doesn't chirp. He gets to work. He grinds. He's tough. In fact, he show up sometimes. I thought he just got off a shift at the factory. Like a blue-collar guy. How old are you? 13. Did your dad make you go to work or something? No. But I like him. And I like his dad and his parents. So the fruit's not falling far from the tree. I think, son, if you just stay after it, you just, what are you doing? Where are you? You got something to do? You just stay after it. You're gonna go far in the game. Stay after it. Good job. Where is the gremlin? All right, so this is one of the toughest kids on the field, period. There's no stopping the kid. It's all hard. He's a good athlete. Now, natural talent will only take you so far. So you've got to work on your discipline. But I love you like one of my own. And when he came back from we got him picked up midway through the season, it just was the spark that the offensive needed. And it was a spark that his teammates needed to see because he just moves at a different pace that other kids saw, and then it was contagious. And so I think, Brody, that I know you're up for the World Tour adventure with your family, but hit the gym, work out with your pops, maybe find some club teams on the road in Argentina or destinations unknown. But I hope that that you come back because the program will be better off because Brody Smith is here. Ben Color. Now, if this boy's mouth runs as fast as his feet, boy, it's a good thing I like you. And you're like right on the cusp of none. Tough, athletic, he hustles, he's a good time guy, he's not afraid to mix it up. I mean, what do you weigh, about 20?
117.
Yeah, about 20. I'm being generous to you. Yeah, sir, that's right. So pack on some weight, you keep running, whether it's football, lacrosse, or both, or whatever, you're an asset to the program.
Thank you, sir.
Get out. Then, when you started playing in the fall, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you didn't know what the heck was going on.
Yeah.
He barely gets it now, but he's getting it. You're going to play offense. Some. All right. Where's my man Studley? my number 8 in Parallax. He's got 2,177 points. His effort, his IQ lurched this year, understands where to be on the field, gets frustrated when the other kids don't know where to be on the field, and he just wants an opportunity. And sometimes the look on his face, I'm like, all right, we'll do one more rep, and I'm thinking this is just because the kid just works. So I'll give one more rep so that Studley, Ben London, his name is Studley to me, gets extra reps. And you came a long way, man, right? You got to be, you pulled out that new stick. Yeah, like Arthur pulled a sword out of the stone with this thing. He was thrilled. And you got to use it, you got grass time, effort. You did a good job. Good job. All right, Carson, where are you, buddy? So I understand at home you can only shoot on the goal with your left hand because of the proper. That's all you can do is your left hand. Don't ever move it. Just keep staying there with your left hand. Now, if you put in the diligence and you work on the off season, your footwork, and you get consistent, you got great size, you're developing that left hand. I mean, that's what we're looking for now. No question. Your IQ jumped. You know, if you get the footwork and your consistency, you're off to the races. You did a good job. You did good. Where's Micah? Come on up, buddy. Now my buddy over here has just had a series of bad events. He's just been like a concussion magnet. Brain cell. Brain cell. And he's had great potential. He's a good athlete. You're starting to develop a nasty step-down shot. Last year it happened mid-season. This year it happened mid-season. We just got chased with concussions. So I'm sorry that your seasons have been cut short. I hope you and Dad can talk Mom off the ledge and see what happens in the junior varsity years. But you've been a pleasure to coach. You're a good kid. All right. All right, Oliver. Green shirt. Oliver's wearing green, and Thomas is wearing blue. That's what I've been saying all night. One over here on this side. Now these two guys never played before. They came out with Sean in the fall, and we were like, oh, we got some guys who want to play. Come play lacrosse. And to their credit, they did. They came out. It's an uncomfortable and nervous thing to come out and never do anything. But Oliver worked at it. You learned a lot. You picked up a lot. Not the biggest guy in the field, but I'll tell you this, never backed off. So, you just stay after it, be disciplined, learn, keep your stick in your hand, and you'll be all right. Good job. So like 3 or 4 games into the season, and something just clicked with the kid. And then all of a sudden, right? Like the 3rd or 4th game, something just clicked. And to watch him and Austin figure out the 2-man game. And did we really coach him? They just kind of figured it out. They just did this head thing they would do together. And this chemistry and dynamic just started to work. They just kind of started playing cat and mouse with the defense and started putting it in. So, very coachable young man, right? Tell him 1 time, tell him 2 times. Where's Mark? What's that doing? Is he trolling you from the crowd? All right. Very coachable. You've been, and now this is, you're an 8th grader. And how many years have you been playing for? 1.5, right? You came in the spring of your 7th, the spring of last year. Good play. All right. All right, let me have Thomas do. So Thomas, again, came in with 0 stick skills, didn't know anything. But the stick skills came a little more natural to me. Again, not the biggest guy in the field, but never back down. I think you had a great first year. We slipped you in a little bit of man up, we slipped you a little bit here and there, and you got in the field. You know I talk about the club. Yeah, you know, and I'm not going to eat you or anything, but you know, we're not going to go far. All right, so I appreciate your effort. I respect it. You did a good job. Stay after the power. You were like my number 12. You were like right there. Good job. All right. Sean, come on up, buddy. Diligent, attentive, respectful. Son, your IQ jumped this year. He jumped at the goal without a hesitation. Coach, I'd really like to do this. Yeah? Yeah, Coach, I want to do this. It's hard to find. It takes courage to step in there. Now, we needed you on defense. And I would have liked to get you more, but I would tell you this. Don't give up on the position. Because I think the program could use, you understand where you're very good at directing and talking to the boys, and you've got a good head for it. I wish I could have given you more time in the cage, but we need time in the cage. So, program needs the talent. You've been a pleasure. You've been a pleasure. Thank you. One of the most diligent kids on the team. Loves it. He's my number 5 in power acts with 3,890 points. Preston, come on. Let me see that bean ball. We were sitting in one of the early meetings for Forge in December, and I don't know, Coach Morgan said something, and he raised his hand, and he said, you know, can I help, or can we help the young guys? We were talking about the Forge practice squad, and he was concerned about bringing the young guys along, and that's exactly at the core that I can see in my limited experience with Preston. That's what I see. I see a kid that is older than his years. He loves the game, right? Did he ever put a stick down?
No, you wanted to bring it in tonight.
Yeah. So young guys, right? What do we say? If the coach praises something, this is where you start to pay attention. Now I know I teased Tripp about how terrible he was. He was worse. Terrible. Horrible. Terrible. But he made himself, and what did when we were at Newberry, we said this is the decision everyone needs to make for themselves. And that's the great part about the game. You choose to be a great ball player. It's a lot of it is choice. And he chose to do it. He's at the field, he's at the wall, he's the first guy in practice, he's working his step down, you tell him once, he does it. Yes sir, no sir. If your mother said you couldn't go to practice, what would you do? There you get to hit the ball, that's right, and stay home and hit the ball. And I would say this, because I get a little bit maybe outside of practice, you know, when I hear about Preston, but he loves his family. and he's concerned. And it's honorable. I was sidelined with concussion till the middle, almost the end of March. Now, come up here. That was impossible. He shows up to practice the other night and he says, I'm gonna go to dinner with Brody, and he has socks on. He's going to El Caban, wherever they're going. And he goes, I said, where's your shoes? He says, I'm gonna go with my socks. I said, well, I have to go to the bathroom. It's nasty in there. Like, you can't do that. So I said, why don't you wear my shoes? He goes, well, what size are you, Dad? I said, 10. He goes, oh, I'm 11. I said, freaking guy. I said, stick your both into my shoe. And he walks off. I said, what is going on? How do you introduce these children? Anyway, so Alex really only started hitting his groove over the last game. Last game or so, right? I would probably say you probably started to feel comfortable last game or so. And you really didn't have much of a season. You lost your mind in all. And I'm forced to say, am I his dad? Am I his coach? Then I lost my mind. Everyone got a show. But I'll tell you this, boys. If I'll bench him, I'll bench any of you suckers. So there is no daddy ball. I'll give you my word. You came back. Where did you start? What line did you start on? Third line. Third line. I wasn't going to bench Henry and Nolan, who've been there all season playing, producing. Right? But that's just the way it's supposed to be. So we honor it where we need to honor, we work it out. Now, parents, you're not alone. You know, sometimes mine suffer from knuckleheaditis too. Yeah. So they all do. It's a rash, an epidemic, and it runs everywhere in the country. But look, this is the deal. And we talk about this, right? Life hits. It's going to hit all of us. And then we have to respond. And how do we respond? And sometimes we make mistakes, we do it wrong, and sometimes we figure it out. But that's why we get to play the game, where the consequences, in this instance, is go take your stuff off and sit on the sideline. Or don't talk back to the ref. Go sit in the penalty box. It gets worse as you get, right? It gets a lot worse, right? As your consequences get worse. But this is where we get to learn. So I'll tell you this. I'm proud. You're a very good athlete. You're a better athlete than I was at your age. I'll still mess you up if we go have to go toe to toe for a little while longer. I'm not looking forward to when he's a senior, because that's going to require some training on my part. But it has been a joy and a pleasure to be able to be your coach and to be your dad. And although there is no daddy ball, I will tell you that this is the ultimate daddy ball. I got 4 kids in the system. All right, we only got a couple more, so just hang in there with me. So, mid-season, I was talking to Coach Jeff, and I said, these kids can't throw or catch, and I can't yell at them. I'm trying not to yell. What do I do? And he says, just get them, just rep it, high rep it. So I'm thinking, okay, so we're going to change the drills a little bit. So we broke up into these 3-man drills, high reps. Everyone's touching the ball, lots of touches in a short period of time, just to get the reps right. And we introduced a dodge after they caught the ball, just so they could get used to doing this with their right and their left. And started watching Henry throw them in a game immediately after. And it went from rep to live to scoring. Where's Henry? Come up here, buddy. This kid is always present. He is always working hard. He takes, the guys, we wrap up at the end of practice. He takes his gear off, and his shirt is soaked in sweat. And I'm a detail guy, and I'm looking at all the t-shirts, and he is soaked like someone hosed him down. Never really jerking around. I don't think he ever watched it, maybe once. He showed up like a surfer dude to a game once. Next year, yes. Did you play much? No, he didn't. I'm sorry, Mike. When his last year, when his ankle gave way, and he had to stop early, I was like, oh man, that's a loss. It's like it's in town. And I was thrilled when he came back. And so this is the most improved award. It goes to Henry Holmensberg. Now this next kid, I found in the wrestling room. Tough. He picked up the game quick. I'd hear him on the sidelines, self-talking. No, give him go. I was like, yeah, that was the right call. No, kick it, goose it. Yeah, that was the right call. Right, guys? Mark, come up here. So when I went to go talk with his mom, he came out, his buddies pulled him, wrestlers pulled him out. And when I'm talking to his mom in the driveway, and she's like, I don't know, he doesn't play well with others. And I said, well, what was he playing? He said, well, he got kicked off his soccer team. He's too aggressive. And in my mind, I'm doing this. Soccer players, of course he's too aggressive. Look at him. You just, Mom, don't worry, we'll take care of it. And let me tell you something. That's what I'm talking about. Right there. He just ate that slap. Tough. He picked it up. He started cradling. Had a couple goals. Had a couple assists. Thoroughly impressed. And energy he brought to the field. Moving, hustling, grinding. You played a little soccer out there. You know the highlight there when he kicked it back? Yeah, I know, I'm watching. So, and I tell you this is a high compliment. We were at, and he trailed around. Now I know when he's trailing, he loves the game. He's hooked. We're at Red Bank this weekend, and he was working out with Damani on the sideline. And afterwards, Damani's like a mainstay in Midlands lacrosse, younger guy, coaches Columbia area. And he comes over to me, and he's standing up, and he looks down, and he looked over at him, and he said, you found another ringer. I said, yeah, I found another ringer. He goes, you're the worst. How do you keep finding these guys? I said, well, you got to keep turning over the rocks. You're going to find them. And let me tell you, brother, you stick with it. You learn the cradle. You stick with it. Everybody is going to know your name. Good job. Mark gets the Rookie Sensation Award for 2026. All right. We got Heat Awards. Hustle, effort, attitude, and teamwork. So my number 3 on PowLabs with 4,663 points. There is no stop to this kid. Super coachable. Trip in 1 year, where you've come from, where you are is nothing short of amazing. is the Heart and Hustle Award. And this is given to Vinny Two Thumbs Hathaway. Your father sent me something that he wants me to read to you. Of my two sons, Trip is most like me in personality and skill set. Neither of us will ever be accused of being fast, but we are both big, strong, reliable, and coachable. All of those qualities Frank's noticed in Trip and mentored out of him while on his time in Forge. If Trip continues to use what has been taught to him at Forge, I have no doubt that he will be wildly successful across both JV and varsity and even college, if he wants. I can say a lot of things about Trip. But when a son's father has those words for his boy, that's gold. Good for you. All right. For our effort extraordinaire award, this is my number 9 in Palax with 2,776 points. He wasn't really even touching the coaching app until about halfway through the season. He was kind of like languishing at 400 points. And I talked with his father and I said, so what's his story? He seems like he wants to be here. So we were talking about Marshall. And he goes, I don't know, but he just seemed to kind of click this week, and let's see what he does. And let me tell you something. Marshall, come on, everybody. Marshall didn't touch that coaching app until mid-season, then became very consistent. And that's, boys, is what we want. We don't want to see thousands of points and then nothing, and then thousands of points and nothing. 200, 300 points. We eat a little bit off that buffet line just so we're full. We don't eat for the week. We eat just for the day, for the moment. And you develop consistency, like everything in life. So Marshall, there was never let up in practice. There was one speed. Right, boys? And Marshall's going. And that's it. And he gave effort. You were new to the game. He never complained. He played long pole. You want to play long pole? Yeah. You want to play short pole? Yeah. And I said, do you want to face off? Marshall, you've been a pleasure.
Thank you.
You just stay with it, buddy. This is for you. You did a great job. Thank you. So this is our attitude award. We're going to call it Most Coachable. Let me tell you, this next kid has surprised me for 3 years in a row. He is so unassuming. Quiet as a little church mouse. Super respectful, patient. I don't know, maybe it was last year I was talking to his father. John and I were talking. I don't know, John, we were on the, where are you, John? Yeah. We were talking for like 40 minutes. In Austin, for 40 minutes. And sitting there with his ball, throwing it to himself, on the wall over here. And never once in 40 minutes, Dad, where are we going? Dad, I could go to Castle Chicken. My kid be on me like this. And I'm watching, I said, that's impressive. Austin, come here, buddy. When did you start playing? 5th grade? 5th grade. He's 5th grade. And he would hit the ladder. Like nobody, like lightning feet. Right? Lightning footwork. Like nobody's business. Now, where do you weigh? Like a whopping 80 pounds now? In 5th grade, what do you think you weighed in 5th grade? 50? Like a strong wind would blow you over. Like I just didn't see much of this. But I remember that 5th grade rec season, somehow we got in. and he put in like 3 points. And he started moving around kids, and I said, he was taking hits. I said, oh my gosh, look at this boy. Where were you hiding? Right under my nose. And so, you almost didn't play, right? You were like, going to go play football or something, 50 pounds playing football. I chased his parents. Where's Austin? Where's Austin? He has a home. Go play football. But come back. Because the kid's attitude has been fantastic for years. Consistent. He's quiet. Trick beats on him every practice. Pounds on him every practice. Never complains. Have you ever heard him complain? Have you ever heard this boy complain? And Trip, that big gorilla, is on him. Yeah, it does. Very coachable. Right? Tell you come up here. Come up here, tell him, because you tell the story better than me.
Yeah. So like every practice, I always, whenever we're doing a drill or anything, I tell him to do something if he does it wrong. Every single time, I never have to tell him twice in anything. From that day on, he's gonna do it every single time. I always tell him I always tell coach that he's by far the most coachable kid I've ever taught because he just remembers everything you told him and he just never messes up once you tell him not to do something. So that's why I always thought that he was the most coachable guy.
Most coachable guy,
Yep.
no question. So, eat some chicken and sausage. Yeah. Here, this for you. Most coachable in the world, awesome. Now these next two became very difficult to give. It was a debate, actually. It was a hard one. We'll talk about it. But this next guy was about to quit the team last year. And I sat with his father and sold him hard on playing defense. Don't quit, James. Don't quit. Just stick with it. Just try it a little bit. If it doesn't work, just try a little bit. And his stick skill was always good. And he fit into the space last year. But this year, I don't know what you're doing at home, or what your mom was feeding you, or what, but this year you blossomed, James. You became a vacuum in the open field. You got a lot better at finding the open man, going up the ladder in the clears. Come up here, James. It's my belief that the highest compliment that a player could get, first is from the attacker that you've been pounding on all game. But then if the opposing coach says, that guy number 12 can play. In fact, I'm the coach for his grade for FCA. I'd like for him to come play. Could you put me in touch with the family? I said, that's a long way away. I'm not telling James. I'm telling his father first, because if the father doesn't want to drive, if Amber doesn't want to drive, I am not letting him know, because it'll never be over. Now that's a high compliment. And I gotta tell you, James, you really, on the field, you really shined. If you ever do behind the back, I will find you. But I'll tell you this, it's the intangibles that James brought to the team that, how do you put this? I didn't really have captains this year on purpose. I really wanted to see who was going to arrest leadership, who was going to take it. And there were some boys that did, but there was never really any there's some guys leading the stretches, but I was kind of watching. But as the season went on, I watched little things that James would do. He was concerned about some of the kids, the younger guys, or maybe the guys that weren't as athletic, and I'd make them lap and lap. And they just wanted to quit, but there was James at the back, half a lap behind, encouraging the young man. Let's go. We can finish. We can do it. Him and Brody got into it. Brody got lippy. He was slashing. I'd be pissed too. He's using foul language. We had to let him just calm down a little bit. Brody says, you know what? I shouldn't have spoke like that. I'm going to do a lap. And without me saying anything, I turned around and there was James running with Brody, apologizing. And they buried the hatch and they worked it out. The way teammates are supposed to. Right? You boys pounded on each other all through college. All the time. It's just part of the deal. But that's the intangible. James is the player that every coach wants on their team. Every player. He adds to the mix, and it's the intangible thing. So James, you get the Team Player Award for Forge 26.
James, love you too.
All right, this last award. All right. This last guy had 1 foot in and 1 foot out with Forge versus the practice squad. 6th grade. This MVP award, we had some debate, and it came down to really one question for me. If we lost one player for a game, how does that impact us? And if we don't have Hamp in the goal, I don't think we win as many games. Hamp or everybody. Now, his hand speed, some of the crease crank saves, I mean, they weren't like shooting from out of the box. They were like 6 yards out, on the crease, off-stick saves, right? What do you tell coach when he's warming you up?
Can you do real shots?
Yeah, can you do real shots, right? The 6th grader mixing it up with the older boys. If you stay humble, and you work hard, and you remain coachable, there will be records broken by the time you graduate. Just real quick. Players, great job. But none of this is possible without some of the parents. One of which, and her son, aren't here. Jill Williams, behind the scenes, who everyone will get to know in the coming years, because Josh is an 8th grader, pulled together and helped in the things that I'm terrible at. She found us money with sponsors. She helped us with our jerseys. We didn't look like ragtag people this year. Jerseys fit. Josh Williams designed our jerseys. So you guys can style and profile, and you didn't leave it up to Coach Frank, and you got gym pins. So Jill and Josh, we thank you. Jocelyn, where are you? I will guarantee you're not getting balloons if you leave it to me. It ain't happening. Excellent. And behind the scenes, working and pulling some of the stuff together, I can't tell you, it's a lot of work. And not to walk in here and see all this done and not have to think about anything, especially moving my family tomorrow, on top of everything, like not do this. Thank you. Jason and Devin, filming all season, putting together the the snapshots, the memories, the kids, if they're smart, they'll keep it and record it, and we can look back on it maybe someday when they're seniors and play a little bit. It's appreciative, and I know it doesn't just happen. Just is a four-letter word. Nothing just happens. None of this just happens. Patrick and Brenda, Patrick and Brendan, thank you, boys. To not have to think. First time I check and verify that they're going to have the table and the ice and the cooler and everything else we need. The second time check and verify, and then after that, I was like, you got it right, and it was done. I didn't have to think about it. Men that are responsible. I don't have to think about that part of it. Gentlemen, thank you. Thank you very much. And to the coaches. Coach Rampone has got his toes in sand down in Belize right now. He has no kids in the team. He just reached out to the district, right? He just rolled in. And he was deeply involved in the NHL farm league. A lot of the players that are in the NHL now lived with him as they would send them down through Canada to his house in the Northwest. And he's at their weddings, and he's been around youth and young men a long time. And that guy is great. He's quiet in the background, and you can see it, and he's not loud. And I say, Coach, what do you think? And his finger's right. It's always right on. Coach Huck, we don't have a field without you, buddy. And I know you were split, and he's down it. He's running like 6 teams at ICRC. Charlie, thank you. I'm coming next week after we move. But it's not an easy thing to keep all the herding cats, U10, U12, running it, pulling it together, trying to be a dad, trying to be a coach. Coach, come on. So I want just Coach to, because he knows more of this stuff than I do. So, Coach and CLC, why don't you just tell them a little bit about what you think for the younger guys?
Okay. Thank you.
I mean, that too, but this is more.
So, Megan Zacharias and I have been working on a rising 7th and 8th grade summer team in collaboration with CLC, but here in Chapin. So we won't have to drive to Owens Field. So we'll be getting some information out to you probably in the next day or two, but I've got a couple of coaches lined up. And I think we've got Melvin Park set up to host practices. So I think we'll do something probably Monday through Thursday, maybe not all 4 days, but and then right now we got 2 tournaments scheduled. Price is going to be somewhere around $320, $25 or so, pretty cheap. And I think basketball we're going to keep it here in Chapin. So if you're interested, just start thinking about it. You can message me on SportsU, or I'll get something out, like I said, the next day or two about it. But we'll probably start in the next few weeks, I think. Rec goes until May 18th, I think it is. So somewhere right in there, but we'll maybe try to sprinkle in a little practice with these guys before then. But the magic number, I think, I know I told Megan probably 15 or 16, but I think the 2 tournaments are really early in June. So I'm gonna shoot that up to like 20 to 22. We're gonna try to shoot for the magic number of getting 20, 22 guys. If we can get 20, 22 guys between 7th and 8th grade, rising 7th and 8th grade, I think we can make this happen. So just keep it in mind. We'll probably, like I said, get some news after the next few days.
Coach Wiggs, you were an enigma to me for 2 years. I'd see him drop Eli off and he's ripping shots. And I'd say, this guy can play. And I would say to him, well, why don't you come on this side of the fence? And he'd just go off for a run. Do I stink? Like, what's the story? I didn't even know him long enough to defend him. And this went on for a little bit, until this year. And then I come to find out that not only did he play, but he coached the Irma varsity team. The whole time, I got a varsity coach sitting on the other side of the fence. Like, we need talent. And he's come out and Barkley, you've been great. And I appreciate the time you put in and the dedication to your son and the knowledge of the game and the competitiveness. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. New York guy here, close. Yeah, come up here, coach. Yeah, so Coach Zach, you know, is a New York guy up in the Hudson Valley, not far from where we live, and I think my son ran into your dad in the gym or something.
Yeah, my dad, my sister.
Yeah, and we got like a built-in New York 4-year college guy that came in and added value immediately. Say anything? It's fine, anything? No, you're good. He is a man of few words, and I appreciate it because he's never forceful. Coach, I think this or I think that, and not that idea sucks. But he's truthful, but he's just quiet. So you've been a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you. I gotta tell you, that without these two guys, right? Without these two guys, there's no way that I could do this by myself. Not possible. And Coach Jake stepped in, Philly guy, played with Alma Abbey, stepped in, helped me in the fall, full-time. These two guys, dependable, they showed up. They invested themselves into the kids. They come back talking about it. You just knew that they weren't just here. They were present with the team all the time. It was carrying over, right? You got anything to say, boys?
Yeah, boys, it was an absolute pleasure. I mean, I'm not going to be back next year, so good luck. I really appreciate it. I'm going to go home, but it was an absolute pleasure, boys. Just keep up the hard work and just continue to be great.
Love you, Coach.
So I feel sad for you boys because you don't get to play for him. It's rare that you find a man like Jeff Murgon that will, at the expense of his family and his business and his time and the agita and the craziness that goes along with running a program. Let me tell you something. Everybody in this room, we're not sitting here if not for the effort of Jeff Murgon. There's no Jake in Lacrosse. There's certainly no middle school Forge. Let me tell you. Everybody in this room needs to thank him for his support and for him to push back the negative. Because let me tell you, it's a small voice out there, but there's a negative voice out there. And he's a staunch defender of the program. Coach, talk to me.
I don't like to be tethered, so if you see me on the sidelines, you know I like to walk around and talk. But first of all, we're not going to let him off the hook. Roll it way back 10 years ago. My son was on the JV team for Chapin, and I just finished a girls' practice. Snuck in the back of the banquet, and there was half as many people there in this room right now. The program was in trouble, a lot of trouble. And I knew at that point in time, I was going to make the transition from the girls' team to the boys' team. And everything got built backwards back then. You know, we didn't have JV when I first started, the girls and the boys. I went to back to get girls and boys JV teams. And this Forge thing is a build backwards. There was a gap. And I hammered on the district for years. 3 years ago, had some major pushback. You know, knowing Frank, I decided last year, summertime, like, we're just gonna go rogue. We're doing it. We're gonna do it. Got Frank on board, and I was gonna be a big part of it until the South Carolina High School League said, guess what? You're not gonna be a part of it. Because they thought somehow I was doing something not worthy of growing the game of lacrosse. So everything got thrown on this guy real quick. And I know last year was a hodgepodge, and it seemed like it was disorganized. But what you have done in 2 years, Frank, this is what it's all about. And this is what, when him and I talked about it, what we wanted, the bridge from rec to middle school, to JV, to varsity. And it's always, I don't talk in terms of team, I talk in terms of program, building programs. And I knew this is the stage we needed. I know I needed a bulldog to run it, and you got your bulldog right there. I mean, this guy runs hard, runs very hard. There's no, Energizer Bunny, he's always going. We talk on the phone 3-4 times a week, and they're not short phone calls, they're 45-minute, hour phone calls. I make as many games as I can, but believe me, boys, I know about every single one of you. I mean, he replays every game. To me, I know exactly what everybody's doing. I'm excited that you're in such a great program. Chapin is a great program. I mean, you're going to step on to the JV level, then it's going to move to the varsity level. You're going to get great coaching. And the best part about it is the family we've developed. And that's what I'm most proud of. I mean, I know, Frank gets emotional about it, so do I, but it is a family. I mean, it's different. What lacrosse has is different than other sports. And it is a family because we care so much about the kids. The families get involved. We try to rope everybody into the program as best we can. But just, embrace what you have here, because you do have something special. And I'm happy I was able to be here for 16 years. It's just time. It's time for me to move on. It's like the Jeff Farewell Tour. I appreciate everybody, saying thank you and everything else. But the attention needs to stay on the boys. And just a couple words of advice. Because, he talks about the negative. Coaches can deal with the negative. But there's two things to the players. Okay? You guys are going to experience change. And one thing you'll learn in life, people hate change. Okay, so as you step from one coach to the next, different coaching techniques, whatever it is, just understand you may be upset about it, but adapt to that change. Okay? And take that home and work whatever that coach wants you to work on. Now to the parents, and I don't mean this derogatory, let the coaches coach. Let them coach. Okay? When the player comes home and talks about what a coach has done, hear it and re-emphasize it. Okay, it's important for coaches because we can tell when players come and they're getting home coached. And it's not just that player, it divides a team and it divides a program. There's not one coach in this program I haven't vetted. And I'm not saying I'm the best in the world at doing it, but I made sure Frank was the right guy. These guys sitting here, I've talked to all of them. I didn't talk to Hud, he was before me. He was in this game before me, but these are all great guys. I mean, Jake and Zach, these young men, you know how many distractions are out there for them that they could be doing, but they spend time with your sons at practice every day. I mean, what great guys. And this is what lacrosse does for you. That's I talk about all the time. You will never convince me that the game of lacrosse is one of the best things you can do to imitate what real life is like. You got teamwork, working with others, and then you have guys come back like this, and you see what I'm talking about. Because they're giving back, and they're showing you what real life is, giving back, and being fine young men. Watch his team develop. The last game was impressive for so many different things. The team got so much better. The coaching has done an incredible job. I'm excited for you guys to step up to JV. But I watched these two coach, and I told Frank after the game, I mean, you can just let these guys do it. I mean, they're running the box. You guys, the box you ran was like running a varsity box. I mean, other teams, you guys are running guys in and out. I'm watching how the players interact with them, which is a true test. And you two are amazing. We really are going to miss you, Jake. We really are. Zach, you did a hell of a job. And that's all I have to say. You give me a mic, I can talk forever. So I won't do that. But Frank, I want to tell you thank you. Thank you, and you've done a hell of a job. Well done.
wrap this up. Let me just give you boys last bit. This is the last day of the season. Last little bit of coaching, and then we'll cut loose. Watch lacrosse. Watch your position. There's an amazing amount that you can learn by watching. 30 minutes a day of Howlax. In the off season, we're going to have some competitions with rewards. Maybe we'll go tubing, maybe we'll go skiing, maybe we'll jump out, we'll have a good time over the summer. Travel, it's good if you can swing it, if your parents will do it. Maybe mow the neighbor's lawn, do something, whatever it is, convince your father, mother to let you go. It's great. But I think I'd almost rather have someone that doesn't travel and picks up 6,000 points over 6 months than 6 weeks of travel ball. If it's one or the other, I'd probably take 6 months of consistency. This is not theory, boys. You heard it at Newberry. I watched it back north. This is the way it works. Tomorrow is the beginning of the 26-27 season. You can play travel ball May, June. Open season in July for rising 7th graders and up. When you hit September and October, U14, open season for rising 7th and 8th graders at the high school, 7th, 8th to 12th grade. That's in October. Then you get off for a couple. Then you open season again, January 2027, and then right back to the beginning of Forge. That's year-round lacrosse. For cheap dollars, for very cheap dollars. Because that, what I just described back in New York, that's a $10,000 bill. Easy. So you could play lacrosse all summer, all fall, all winter, year-round if you want. So here's the uncomfortable truth. There are no more excuses. You've been gifted something very special and very unique. And what you decide to do with it, that's on you. But there will come a time when you'll be uncomfortable with your grass time, and if your effort doesn't align with your grass, you got to take a long look in the mirror, because you've been given every opportunity, boys. I want you all very much to thrive. I want you very much to find a passion, to experience what it means to be on a championship team. That's a special thing if you make mistakes. It doesn't come around every day. You'll be 50 and think about it. You get to own that memory. And I'll tell you this, lacrosse has got a winding road to it. I had a coach when I was your age who gave me a shot, and that one shot paid dividends. It helped me get to college. It helped me get into places I shouldn't have gotten to. It put me on the life path. It put me in places where I got to meet her. It gave me time with my sons. Because I had one coach who said, Gooch, I think you'd be a great lacrosse player. And if you would tell me that I'd be standing here in South Carolina at 53 because one guy said, Gooch, I think you would do well. Oh, that guy never have to buy around as long as I'm around. That was a good man. So boys, parents, thank you for your time. I'm sure your butts are sore. I'm tired of hearing me talk. I appreciate everything. You've been great. Give yourselves all around, please.
They are custom lacrosse balls for the parents that don't know because your kids aren't sitting with you. They're just custom lacrosse balls with their names on them. And this is for you, Coach. And this is for everything you've done for the team from last year to this year. You guys just keep growing it, and we appreciate you.